day of June, the first Sunday of the 6th month of the year 2017. Thank you so much for choosing Checkpoint tonight. It is the only way to start your week. I'm Yvonne Okwara Matole, and our sign language interpreter is Maresha Owiti. So today we're going to be fact-checking a statement that was made by NASA presidential candidate Raila Odinga, and it's all about the May saga. The details and the facts around this issue just won't go away. In addition, tonight on our discussion, the furore that came out online over the events of the Madaraka Day celebrations. Are we able to separate party politics from nationhood, from the state? We'll be asking the all-important questions about the discussion that came out after that. Are we really one? Especially as we've got just about 64 days left to the next general election. My guests tonight, we've got Daisy Amdani, we've got Martin Olo, and Patrick Gadara. You can weigh in as well. The hashtag is Checkpoint. We also have today's top stories, and let's take a look at them now here on our Super Wall tonight.
The nurses are going to down their tools at midnight on Sunday.
And it's yet another looming nurses' strike as the standoff continues between the Council of Governors and the nurses' unions.
Wanataka wafanye campaign katika Kenya hii. Basi tabia hii wawache, kwa sababu wa Kenya wataonyesha zaidi tabia kama hiyo.
And the gloves are off as NASA and Jubilee trade accusations, even as they woo the voters.
As well, you cannot write the law. The constitution is clear. You have no authority whatsoever to bar anyone for running for political office.
And it's a six-piece vote in the Rift Valley. At least that's according to the Jubilee candidates in the region.
They've tried to frustrate me. I've not been having a salary for 2 years.
And on Spotlight 2017 tonight, we interrogate the delicate balance between credentials and loyalty for the deputy governors. So this is Checkpoint. It starts right now. We'll get into our top stories in just a moment. Good evening and welcome to our program this Sunday night. We want to start off with that looming strike. The nurses across the country are in the next 3 hours set to resume their strike after the Council of Governors failed to sign and register in court a collective bargaining agreement between the government and the nurses' union. The nurses who suspended their strike in December last year issued a resumption of a strike notice on Friday. But the Council of Governors is throwing the ball into the Salaries and Remunerations Commission's court.
Operations in public hospitals were paralyzed after doctors went on strike on the 5th of December last year, and nurses followed suit a day later. But the nurses would try and save the situation. They suspended their strike 10 days later following the signing of a return-to-work formula.
The government of Kenya has agreed to offer all nurses quantum increase, that is nursing service allowance.
But now that strike is set to resume.
The nurses are going to down their tools at midnight on Sunday.
The nurses are demanding improved salaries and allowances and upgrading of job groups. In the return-to-work formula signed in December, the nurses' union and county governments agreed to work on a collective bargaining agreement within 60 days. The CBA, which the union says was finalized and is ready for signing, is yet to be signed 6 months later. The Council of Governors, in a letter to the union, says it has forwarded to the Salaries and Remuneration Commission the nurses' CBA for guidance and advice as required by the law. The Council of Governors CEO Jacqueline Mogeni says the council is following due process to ensure that the CBA shall not have legal challenges and is waiting for a no objection response from the SRC before county governments can begin signing the CBA. But nurses are not willing to wait for a reply from the SRC.
We are saying enough is enough. The patience has run out. The goodwill has run out.
Less than 3 months after normalcy resumed in public hospitals, after doctors called off their 100-day strike, operations may once again be disrupted if nurses make good their threat. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto wound up their 3-day campaign tour of Nakuru County with a call to Kenyans to maintain peace in the election period. Victor Gale has more.
The president told Kenyans to uphold the values of nationhood and patriotism, which are key to the country's stability. Addressing a congregation at Kingdom Seekers Fellowship Church in Nakuru town, the president urged religious leaders, men and women of goodwill, to go down on their knees and pray for the country. Kenyatta said he was ready to do everything in his power to ensure that peace prevails in the country before, during and after the August 8th general election. He challenged those vying for political seats to do so without inciting wananchi as they go around seeking votes.
The announcement that we made was that win or lose, our greatest mission must be to ensure that never again will Kenyans fight, shed blood, and destroy property for the sake of politics. And that mission we started here, the county that saw possibly the greatest loss of life and damage to property in the country during the unfortunate events of 2007 and 2008. And God was good, and we have had peace. And we want that peace to continue prevailing. That's what I've heard you say also. It's like you were listening to what I was saying yesterday.
We confess with all of you that any plan or scheme configured against our country will not succeed.
And he reiterated their reason for picking Nakuru County as their first campaign stop.
Tulianzia siasa zetu hapa kwa sababu tulisema tukiwa na amani Nakuru, sisi tunajua ya kwamba tutakuwa na amani Kenya mzima.
The president took a swipe at NASA flag bearer Raila Odinga for his recent announcement that should NASA ascend to power, then they will ensure free secondary education.
Honorable Raila Odinga, let me inform you that when you make policy, it requires planning. Tunaelewana? Ukija kunena kitu, usinene ati ndio upigiwe makofi. Sisi wakati tulinena, tulijua ni kwa nini tunasema Januari, kwa sababu tunajua where the gaps are that we must meet in order for us to be able to offer our fellow Kenyans free secondary education.
President Kenyatta toured sections of Nakuru suburbs, including Free Area, Lanet, Mbaruk, Gilgil, and Naivasha.
May God bless you, may God bless them.
Victor Gale, KTN News, Nakuru County.
Meanwhile, NASA flag bearer Raila Odinga led his co-principals and other opposition leaders to their first NASA rally in Nandi County. The leaders sought to convince the residents to give them a chance to lead the nation. They dismissed Jubilee as a government that has failed its people.
Thousands of their supporters from Fundwide flocked the arena. However, drama unfolded as the rally was temporarily interrupted after a group of people alleged to be Jubilee operatives attempted to disrupt the rally. Moments after the NASA principal made their way to the showground to address the residents. It took the intervention of police to repulse Jubilee supporters who were waving Uhuru Ruto placards and chanting Jubilee slogans, something that angered the Pentagon members.
Uhuru alionyesha kule Nyeri ndio tabia wameleta hapa Kapsabet. Ikiwa wana Jubilee wanataka wafanye campaign katika Kenya hii, basi tabia hii wawache, kwa sababu wa Kenya wataonyesha zaidi tabia kama hiyo.
Kwa sababu tunajua ni kukosa ajira ndiye inafanya wanatumiwa vibaya na viongozi wabaya.
Kwa hivyo mimi yangu ni ndugu wa Nandi, ndugu wa Rift Valley, Kenya nzima, tuungane mpaka serikali tuunge tarehe 8 mwezi wa 8, serikali ya National Super Alliance.
Wanandi wamekuwa wakilisha Kenya, lakini sasa Wanandi wamekuwa maskini. Kweli urongo? Wakulima wa majani chai wanalia, sio? Wale wakulima wale wafugaji wa ng'ombe wanalia, sio? Wakulima wa mahindi si wanalia? Kweli urongo? Wote wanalia kwa sababu uchumi wa kilimo imeharibika.
But the brigade braced heavy rains and continued their Jubilee onslaught. They rallied the electorates to vote out the Jubilee government, accusing them of mismanaging and running down the country. Elvis Kosgei, KT News, Kapsabet, Nandi County.
Jubilee candidates in the Rift Valley have declared that they will campaign for what they have termed as a 6-piece suit. That is, they will ask their supporters to vote for Jubilee candidates across all levels, from the president to the MCA.
It was the first major political rally for Rift Valley politicians affiliated to the ruling Jubilee Party since they were cleared by the IEBC to contest in the various elective positions come the 8th of August. More than 500 candidates on a Jubilee ticket attended the rally at Sosiot in Kericho County with one intention, making a grand declaration on how their supporters should vote. And they were all in agreement that it should be a 6-piece vote.
We stand by our rationale to dissolve all our constituent parties to form Jubilee Party and stand by all the Jubilee candidates across the country.
The meeting came on the backdrop of the high number of independent candidates in the region who decamped after losing the Jubilee nominations, as well as trying to stop the influence of Chama cha Mashinani, which is led by NASA principal and Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto, which has been making inroads in the area.
The jolted aspirants, now calling themselves independent, are just but bitter losers. We ask all of them to follow suit what the governor of Nakuru, Kinuthia Ambugu, has done.
Na wale wanafiki, kama wewe ulishindwa kwa nomination, ukubali ulishindwa. Wewe uliangushwa kwanza na Waititu, ukapata kura kidogo, ukashindiwa zaidi ya 200,000 ya kura. Wewe nyamaza, hauna ruhusa.
Wasingishu woman representative Jubilee candidate Gladys Boss Sholei, Kapseret MP Oscar Suri and his Nandi Hills counterpart Alfred Keter said that IEBC has no mandate to bar any candidate nominated by their respective parties. This after the EACC sent a list of 106 individuals who should be barred from holding any elective seats due to integrity issues.
To the IEBC commissioners, together with Ezra Chiloba, the CEO. Ezra Chiloba, I taught you. You are my student. You know what the law is. Ezra, you cannot write the law. The constitution is clear. You have no authority whatsoever to bar anyone for running for political office.
Tunataka tuambie nyinyi watu wa EACC. Hii EACC afadhali tufunjilie mbali kwa sababu ni toll station ya wizi katika taifa la Kenya. When you are still in a court of law, there is presumption of innocence unless and until you are proved guilty. Sasa viongozi kama sisi hatukufanya kazi ya kusema yale ambayo walisema tulifanya hatukufanya.
The names of Gladys Shulei, Alfred Keter and Oscar Suri were among the 106 individuals on the EACC list.
Stop being busybodies and do your job. You have no right to remove a list and say the following cannot run for political office. Kama EACC hawajui kazi yao waende nyumbani. Kama IEBC hawajui kazi yao waende nyumbani. Kazi ya IEBC ni kusimamia uchaguzi.
2012 walisema Uhuru Kenyatta na William Ruto hawatasimama. Mwisho walisimama. Nataka tuambie nyinyi my friend, kama hamuna kazi, mtafute kazi ya kuuza makaa na kufanya kazi nyingine. Ikifika Jumatano wiki hii, nikirudi bungeni, nitatambua na nitaanza kutoa hadharani yale ambayo mmefanya kama EACC. Tunajua nyinyi ni wezi kushinda kila mtu Kenya mzima.
Although the Rift Valley politicians have made the declaration on which side that they will be voting and insisted on a 6-piece, that ultimate decision still rests with the voters come the 8th of August. Chris, the KTN News at Societe Grounds in Kericho County.
Baringo Senator Gideon Moi is urging Kenyans to be on the front line in maintaining peace during the election period. Speaking in Limuru, Gideon reiterated his support for President Kenyatta's re-election bid.
Zote tujue kitu kimoja kwamba itakuja na itapita. Itakuja na itapita, lakini yale ambayo itakuwa and what will be permanent ni nchi yetu ya Kenya.
It was the message of peace from Baringo Senator Gideon Moi while addressing a congregation at the AIC Kirenga Church in Limuru earlier this morning, where he had joined the faithfuls in a thanksgiving service for the construction of the new church building. The senator, who was accompanied by nominated Senator Zipporah Kitonyi, Kiambu gubernatorial aspirant Ferdinand Waititu, and other aspirants from within Kiambu County, say that it is important for every Kenyan to turn up to cast their vote.
Kila kura iko na maana. Tuzichezee hii kura ya 2017 hii ya mwezi ya 8. And let us not be complacent. Wale wengine wanajitayarisha. Tafadhali kila kura iko na maana.
With political parties banking on their campaign strategies and voter turnout to amass the highest number of votes in the August 8th polls, Ferdinand Waititu urged the voters to verify their details before the expiry of the deadline for voter verification on 9th June.
Kiambu kura 12,000 ziko na shida. Mount Kenya region kura 100,000 ziko na shida. Tafadhali hakikisheni mumeenda kuangalia ndio kura zote, tukigojea kupiga kura tarehe 8 mwezi wa 8 kumchagua rais wetu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, wewe uko tayari na uwe rekodi yako iko sawa.
Senator Moi, who's also KANU chairman, endorsed President Uhuru Kenyatta at Kasarani Stadium in May, and today he also asked Kenyans to vote for the president for a second term.
Tunataka tupatie Uhuru Kenyatta nafasi ajenge legacy yake, his legacy. Na kujenga hiyo legacy lazima abadilishe maisha ya wananchi wa Kenya positively, and he means well, and that is what he wants to do for all of us.
At the moment, political activities are gaining momentum as the campaign period now enters its second week, with only 64 days left to the August 8th polls. Raquel Muigai, KTN News.
Right now, the past 4 years of devolution have witnessed frosty relations between a number of sitting governors and their deputies, as supremacy battles to control billions of county funds took centre stage. And so tonight on Spotlight 2017, our political affairs reporter Murimi Mwangi highlights the tough balancing act between loyalty and competence as top gubernatorial contenders pick their running mates.
With a constitutionally stipulated bond akin to that of the proverbial seismic twins, inclusivity, a number of governors and their deputies have for the past 4 years been forced to endure a rather peculiar love-hate relationship. And Muranga Deputy Governor Gakure Monyo, who fell out with his boss Mwangi wa Iria soon after 2013, knows too well the discomforts of being in the political cold while still constitutionally in office.
I am one of the few deputy governors who've gone through hell. You remember there was an incident when my office was brought down in the name of renovation. You've known that there are several situations that they've tried to pick my car. They've tried to frustrate me. I've not been having a salary for 2 years.
A narrative which mirrors the state of affairs across such counties as Mombasa, Nyandarua, Kisumu, Kilifi, Kirinyaga and Machakos, where governors and their deputies have been locked in fierce supremacy battles, hell-bent on finishing each other politically. And with only 64 days before they get back to the ballot, top gubernatorial contenders are facing a daunting task in selecting their running mates as they balance between loyalty and managerial competence.
This tactic is borrowed heavily from the Western world, especially in America, where a presidential candidate picks somebody who brings in a mix of talent and resourcefulness that he or she doesn't have, so that together they can appeal to the populace.
Article 180 of the Constitution prescribes that gubernatorial running mates must be qualified to run as governor, making a deputy governor a county chief in waiting in event that the governor dies or vacates office prematurely. In Nairobi, Jubilee gubernatorial candidate Mike Sonko picked businessman Polycarp Igathe as running mate. Mombasa Governor Hassan Ali Joho, who has had a serious challenge containing his estranged deputy Hazel Katana's political ambitions, recently settled on University Don Professor William Kingi.
Linda Mariwa Shuma.
Joho's top competitor, Senator Omar Hassan, settled on community social worker Cam Hotelier, Linda Shuma. Choices which observers argue are largely motivated by the need for complementability and the consideration of having a deputy with less political ambitions than the boss.
It is a delicate balance between hoarding, quote-unquote, popularity with the people, but so much more focusing on what is taking you into office.
It's never too prudent to outshine your master. And when a junior tries to outshine their master, then their master will find a way to engage in a decapitative exercise politically.
In 2014, the Deputy Governors Forum pushed the Senate to amend the County Governments Act to clearly define their roles in the counties. But key amendments suggested to clear grey areas on the county governments, including the assumption of office of governor bill, are still pending in Parliament.
I think almost all deputy governors have been disenfranchised, dismembered totally. It's like they don't exist in the vocabularies of most of the governors. And this is the folly of governors. That's why you see the hostility they sometimes attract from members of the National Assembly, members of the Senate and county assemblies.
Tumepata kiongozi ambaye he is ready to sacrifice his life on behalf of the people. Anasema kama ni korokoroni niende.
As the battle to control the billions in the counties intensifies, gubernatorial running mates will no doubt remain on the spotlight as top contenders balance between loyalty, competence, and the political capital of their deputies. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News, Nairobi.
Right, welcome now to our Fact Check segment. We thank you for staying with us. Remember, we do this together with Africa Check, and the Kenya editor for that, Alphonse Chundu, is here with me. Let me just remind you, if you want anything fact-checked, please send a tweet to @AfricaCheck, @Chundu, @Yvonne Okwara. The hashtag to use is FactCheck, and we will do our best to check it out for you. All right, Alphonse, it's good to see you.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Welcome. All right, so today we're taking a look at this claim that was made by NASA presidential candidate Raila Odinga. And this was made actually at the Jacaranda grounds, if I'm not wrong, yes?
Yes.
So this is what he said. And this is all about how much we're buying maize from the Mexican farmers and how much we're buying it from the Kenyan farmers as well. So this is what he said, and you'll get to hear it verbatim in a moment. Last year, farmers asked Uhuru and the DP to pay 3,200 per bag. They refused. Now they're paying Mexican farmers 4,600. We will break this up into two pieces, but just listen to it for yourself.
Mwaka jana wakulima waliuliza Uhuru na Ruto tulipie sisi shilingi 3,200 kwa gunia. Wamekataa. Sasa wanalipa wakulima wa Mexico. Mexico wanalipa shilingi 4,600.
All right, so we will break this down into two. First of all, we will check whether indeed the government refused to pay the farmers the 3,200, whether that was indeed what they were asking for, and whether we're paying Mexican farmers 4,600 per bag. But Chundu, you asked for this, and you reached out to the NASA presidential candidates camp. What did they say?
Yes, thank you. The first thing we do, as always, is ask the person making the claim to declare the source of the claim or the evidence they have.
Right.
So we asked the spokesperson to the Prime Minister, Mr. Dennis Onyango, where the Prime Minister is getting all these figures.
Yeah.
And he told us the figures were in public domain and we shouldn't ask the obvious.
We'll have that next as we go. Yeah.
we said,
this is what he said.
Okay, this is what he said. It was stated publicly. We stand by what he said.
Right.
That maize is costing 4,600 per bag. So, yes, that's what he said.
Okay,
and then,
so he said it was public knowledge.
Yes.
In fact, I asked something about, asking the obvious.
Yes.
Yes, because this was in the public domain,
yes.
he said. And they stand by it. Okay, so you went ahead and checked.
Because he couldn't provide the evidence. We went looking for we went digging.
And your first port of call was with the
Kenya Farmers Association.
All
Yes,
right.
we went there and we called Kipkorir Arap Menjo and we asked him, okay, this claim has been made.
Yeah.
Last year, you guys wanted this. Is it true?
Yeah.
And he said, yes, it is true. We asked the government to increase the price.
Right.
Yes.
Let's just go back a little bit
yes.
before we get to this question.
Yes.
So you asked him how much they were asking for.
Yes.
And they said they were not, in fact, asking for 3,200 per bag.
Yes.
What did they want?
He said they were asking for 3,000 for maize and 3,200 for wheat.
Okay.
Yes. And
it's also interesting what else he does, yes?
Oh, he's the director.
Because Dennis Onyango also mentioned him, right?
Yes, he mentioned him as the person in charge of the agriculture sector in ODM, within ODM.
All right.
And then when we asked him if he actually does that, he said he's the secretary for devolved governments in ODM.
Okay.
Yes.
And he's also the Kenya Farmers Association director.
Yes.
He says that, in fact, they were looking for 3,000 and not 3,200.
Yes.
Did they get it? Let's listen to him now.
Kuhakikisha ile mahindi iko kwa shamba wakati huu bei inakuwa 3,000. That one we cannot say we are negotiating kwa sababu tunajua hata kwanza mahindi hakuna.
Okay, so to be clear, it's 200 shillings more that was overstated by Raila. Because in fact, according to Menjo, he says they were asking for 3,000.
Yes, and he said that is not negotiable.
Okay, did they get the 3,000?
Yes, when the deputy president went to the Eldoret show in October 2016, he actually announced that the price would be 3,000 shillings.
Right.
Before that, the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture, Mr. Willie Bett, had announced that the maize would be bought at 2,800 shillings. So the deputy president enhanced the maize to 3,000.
So it moved up from 2,300 to 2,800 and to 3,000.
Yes.
Meaning the farmers got exactly what they asked
wanted.
for.
Yes.
Okay. So
we asked Menjo and he said, yeah, we were negotiating and we got what we wanted.
Okay.
Yes.
So that first part of his claim, therefore, we will get to that. So it's contradicting what Raila said, that, you know, the farmers had asked for an increase and they did not get it.
Yes, so it's actually wrong that they didn't get an increase.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's tackle the second bit of that. And this is the big one, isn't it, Shundu?
Yes.
Whether the government is actually paying 4,600 shillings per 90-kilogram bag of maize to the Mexican farmers. This is an interesting one. Okay. So tell us the facts around this one. Is this true?
Right. Let me try to explain the source of the figure, 4,600.
Right.
When the subsidy was announced on May the 16th at the Kilimo House, the cabinet secretary said the prevailing price of maize at that time was 4,620.
Okay.
Yes, that was the
Kenyan
market price in the Kenyan market.
Okay.
So after he announced the subsidy, the government called all these millers and they sat down and they said they want to buy that maize and subsidize it, and the millers are going to buy the maize that is coming in from the importers at 2,300.
Yeah.
Yes. So there was this negotiation by an interministerial committee, according to Lesiampe, the principal secretary.
Right.
Yes. And he said that they are paying the people who are importing maize, the importers, the difference between
2,300 and
3,600.
Okay.
So there is like 1,300 shillings.
Okay. So the government is paying 3,600 per bag to the importers.
Yes.
And then selling that to the millers at 2,300, meaning the government is, you know, obviously subsidizing the difference here.
Yes.
So regardless of where this is coming from, yes?
Yes.
Mexicans, South Africans, because we fact-checked that claim. We said it's still difficult to know because of the conflicting stories that we had from the government on this one. But so
we call
what does this mean then?
We call the Cereal Millers Association. These are the guys who are like buying the maize.
From the government?
Yes, from the government.
Okay.
And we asked them, where are you getting the maize? And they said, we are getting it from the government. They paid everything off the vessel at 3,600.
Okay.
They are selling it to us at 2,300.
Right.
So that we can sell the maize at 90 shillings for
bag.
every 2 kg packet and 47 for every
kilogram packet. So therefore, you talked to the millers.
The millers. We called the MD of NCPB.
Right.
And we asked him, how much are you buying maize from the farmers? He said 3,600. That's the price the government set. How much are you selling that maize to the millers? Say when the millers come, I sell them to 2,300.
Okay.
And we were like, okay, fine. So we went to, after we got all these figures, we now went to, we asked the people at Tegemeo Institute.
Yes.
Yes, to break this thing down for us.
Right.
And they held the view that the government, this subsidy, they explained actually the numbers that we had found. Yes, and they say because there is a shortage of maize in the country, when the government set the price at 3,600 and tells the farmers to bring, there is no more maize per se. So the farmers who are holding maize can actually sell it.
Selling this. So this 3,600 per bag, per 90 kilogram bag, is what the government is buying from farmers here? And also from the importers?
Yes. So
4,600?
Would you say they're buying it at 4,600? Logically looking at it, if the maize is coming from, assume it's coming from Mexico, it is shipped all the way via Durban and to Nairobi.
Right.
And the market price here is 4,600. Would you say the importer would pay the Mexican farmers the same price he's making in Kenya?
Right.
That's the logic behind it. And,
okay.
And we were like, no, that statement is incorrect.
Okay. All right. So there we go. The farmers did actually get what they asked for.
Yes.
Which was 3,000 shillings per 90 kilogram bag of maize.
Yes.
And the government is buying it from the importers So let's assume it comes from Mexico, South Africa, wherever, at 3,600.
At 3,600.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shundu. Alphonse is the Kenya editor for Africa Check. We will be checking another one. My goodness, your claims coming in are interesting, and we'll continue to check them out. Please do give us some time. Remember, it takes quite a bit of time to gather the facts and speak to the people involved. And our job here is to make sure that we set the facts straight. Especially now that we've got, about 64 days? -2, that's 62 days of campaign promises, allegations, claims. We'll be setting the record straight right here on Fact Check with Africa Check. Thank you, as always. And by the way, the full report is on africacheck.org. So if you want to dig into it a little bit more, that's where you can find it. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne, for
all right, so that's our Fact Check for this week. But up next is our discussion tonight. Like I told you, a lot happened on Madaraka Day. A lot was said in a language some people did not understand, but it did raise quite the furore about our nationhood, our statehood, and whether we draw the line between that and party politics, and whether this issue of tribe in the country will ever be resolved. We have Daisy Amdanyi, we have Patrick Gadara, we have Martin Olo, and they're ready. Are you? Please send us your views. The hashtag is Checkpoint. Are we one? And did the Madaraka Day celebrations perhaps evidence of some fissures we have in the country? All right, we'll be speaking about that. And I want to remind you about David Nd's article a couple of months ago. Remember, we actually had that discussion right here. It'll probably come up again. We'll see you after the break.